Welcome to the show, Mr. Venkat.
Thank you. Thank you, Sunil.
So let's start with understanding what is PQSI into.
So PQSI is into digital transformation for manufacturing companies. So we deliver through a product and a platform what is today known as Industry 4.0.
So what are the challenges that you see in the Industry 4.0 that companies will have to address going forward?
Maybe 4 years, 5 years ago, every manufacturing company started building a digital roadmap, starting with the larger players. Today, that habit has come down to even the small companies. Everybody has a digital roadmap. At the same time, if you look at what McKinsey is saying, what Cisco is saying, the big consulting companies out there saying that digital transformation projects have a massive failure rate of as much as 60%, 70%. So that was a very curious situation. Why are large number of people taking up to this digitalization roadmaps? At the same time, why do we have vast level of massive failures? So this is where we started paying attention, and we figured out one, why are people going digital? Is because manufacturing has pretty much optimized on all other fronts in terms of design, in terms of quality control. Those habits have been in place for many, many years. And then there was a system where the capital assets made the difference. So people started going to Hanover and Shanghai to buy the machines. Now that wave of optimization was also completed. What is left behind is you have an ecosystem. Now you have to competing. Indian manufacturing is competing at the global level. So what are those advantages? And digital is one of the main things today that can bring that competitive advantages. Today, in the post-COVID era, when new manufacturing opportunities are coming to India, India will be benchmarked with those companies in China, in Germany, in Thailand, in Vietnam. And for us to survive, we need to go digital. That is why you see why many companies have this roadmap. Now, why are these projects failing? There are some common trends. But if you leave, many of the people part of the problems, those kind of things, it is to do with the different sources of data that we have in a shop floor. If you look at banking and finance or market research or supply chain, data is largely streamlined, harmonized, and available to a certain extent. Whereas if you go to a manufacturing facility, sometimes we end up with 30, 40 different pockets of data, which personally I'd like to call it as dark data. Data that is available in a machine, but it is not available in a human consumable form. So it's the wide variety of data that is a problem. The challenge is in harmonizing the data that's a problem. Now what happens is when you have large varieties of data, you incur costs of software. Licensed software comes into place. Machine learning comes into place. Data parsers coming into place. 5 years ago when all of this, or 10 years ago when all of this started, these are leading edge technologies, and they all started out with big cost numbers. So whoever was adopting all of this had to prepare for big budgets. Now that's your point number 2. So you have a variety of data, the budgets required to deal with all of that data, then license costs. So the inherent nature of analytics is you want large number of people to look at the data. You want them to put their heads together. You want to collapse the data cycle, start doing things faster. All of this entailed license costs. Now these are the problems that we have attacked, Sunil, in our business as a startup. In our technology approach, in our commercial strategy, what we have done is we have already built adapters for 40 plus different data sources. And we have worked across a variety of manufacturing subsegments, from engine manufacturing, machines, foundry, heat treatment, abrasive manufacturing, ceramics, fabrication, and we're also talking to aircraft maintenance, kind of new and exciting domains. What this meant is we are constantly seeing new types of data, data from welding machines, data from electric vehicle battery testing. So every week we are seeing new types of data, and we keep building these adapters. That means when a customer comes to us today, they don't invest in going through all of these cycles up from scratch. We are ready to do that. Point number 1. Point number 2, given that statistical process control, analytics, all that means that people have to have access right from get-go. We never charged our customers based on the number of users to access or the number of devices they have to hook up. So we went with a flat servicing, and we billed the customer for the customizations that they wanted. That meant they very easily could take the product to as many users as they would like. These are the foundations, Sunil. Based on those foundational pillars, we have been able to add more things like productivity monitoring. So we have a fairly robust OEE module. We have workflow automation. So whatever rules that need to be followed that can be built as rules in a platform and can be digitally monitored. So the entire material movement inside a smart factory is brought to you in an app or in a dashboard. So those are all uptakes from that kind of a foundation.
When you talk about data integration or data analytics, to be able to use your solution, do the companies have to have a fully automated equipment or semi-automated? What kind of industries would be able to use your service? Because why I ask the question is the micro and small businesses may not have advanced equipment or machinery that they're using currently.
Correct. Absolutely. See, that's one challenge. Whenever we go to a high-end digital event in the US, you will see that most of the showcases, they have excellent machinery. The machinery is giving you data in UPC UA or MT Connect format. Then it's a question of hooking up the speed with their moves, all very romantic. But if you go to our shop floors, it is things built over a period of time. We didn't have those quantities of machines brought together in one go. Our procurement was done in phases. So yes, exactly like what you said, you will see a variety of machines put together at different times. So you must have a very sensitive strategy in place. Sometimes you just need to accept that I can't hook up to it with a reasonable method. We will give an app to capture data from that. So by looking at the display on the machine, somebody will enter into app. That is your low-cost method to do that. But thankfully, there are electronic handlers available. What PLC used to be an enterprise solution today, modular PLCs are available. So you can hook them up to a old world machine, connect a little IoT microprocessor to it. A lot of those new things are happening, and we are also working with electronics players in this field. People who are good old control developers in building IoT handlers, and that's the way forward for us. But the answer is you can't have a thing saying that only if your machines are digitally capable can your business become digitally transformed. No, that is not the case. We will work with all kinds of generations of machines.
Do you as a company then provide end-to-end solutions specifically for small and micro businesses or even medium businesses who are still using old technology or old equipment? So do you provide that A to Z of the solution?
Absolutely. We don't directly have the people to do that, but we have excellent partners to bring in digital capabilities in terms of measurement systems, in terms of edge computing that you need, in terms of installing thin PCs, which are way cheaper than some of the other IT infrastructure that's available. Incidentally, PQSI Digital's origins are from the MSME space. The first factories that we visited, the first customers that we onboarded were all tier 1 suppliers of Ashok Leyland. So the first, we were taken into the market by, the quality teams in Ashok Leyland. We are forever thankful to them. But the first 10 customers that we got on board were all SMEs. So we are very familiar with the reality and the compulsion of the small businesses. Even today, we continue to work with small businesses. During the lockdown, we were inspired to see MSMEs being very resilient, having the courage to invest in future. We continue to onboard SMEs during the lockdown. During, completely online, we deployed solutions for small and medium companies. We have a totally different pricing model for them. We keep their CapEx very small, and we give them an OpEx, which is like, half of an engineer that they will need to hire. So it's a no-brainer when it comes to the commercials. We have our cloud infrastructure, which we make available for them. So it comes to a bunch of, PCs and tabs that they need to use. They can get started like that. And once they have success, the important assets they can hook up for, live monitoring, things like that. So you can, take one step at a time. Every quarter you can say, one more asset I will bring aboard, one more, manual process I will convert it to a digital monitoring like that. You can go step by step like that.
What kind of efficiencies, using your solution, what kind of efficiencies, whether it is in production process, whether it's in cost saving, have you been able to showcase to the companies like Ashok Leyland and their vendors?
Right. So see the latent benefits or what the platform directly delivers is that it collapses data cycles. What that means is we completely remove paper from the value stream. Quality department and production engineers who often become managers of data cycles. Instead of consuming data, they start managing data, in terms of logging it, entering it into Excel, using analysis, making PPTs. That entire cycle becomes live. So there, the immediate savings are in terms of man hours of vital resources. So you usually take the best of your engineers, saying that this, person is highly reliable. I want them as, making sure the data is in place because, my boss is going to ask me for that. So those resources are, they're worth a lot in terms of their ability to solve problems. So we relieve that. That's the first thing that happens. But if you see that kind of savings, you're looking at human effort savings more than 50%, cost savings more than 50%, but over a period of time, the bottom line impact can be as much as 30%. This is not purely because of digital, Sunil. There are other things that come together in that people change, people start validating their instincts with data models. That's one major cultural change that we help the customer with. Today in our business, instincts are highly respected. We will say, "Oh, Sunil is great." The moment he looks at something, he will tell us what is wrong. But from a data point of view, what we are saying is, forget the data. Listen to what somebody is saying. What we are saying is, don't stop your instincts. Please come up with a model saying that this is how I'm going to, but qualify it with data. That those are all the little changes that need to come. When you do that in a sustained manner, everything that takes more time starts happening faster. So a machine problem that you might detect down the line, you will get early signals. You will start responding to the early signals. You don't wait for the problem to happen. Similarly, a quality defect, when you're looking at control charts, why is this jumping outside the performance band? What is going wrong? You will start studying variances in the business. So you don't wait for the customer to say, "Hey, your product, this shipment is not as good as the last shipment," because you will be very early seeing that. Your incoming raw material, you will be saying this batch is not as good as the last batch. So you will know to make the adjustments then and there, rather than wait for something to go wrong. That's how the business changes overall.
You made a mention of dark data, which is very relevant with the small companies, micro and small companies. What needs to be done, either at the government level, at the industry level, to ensure that the small and micro businesses adapt to technologies like yours?
See, the biggest challenge that small businesses have is in the first mile, in the ability to take data out of the machines and bring them out. Now, unfortunately, there are a lot of controls, proprietary controls, machines that were bought from some overseas country many 15 years ago. The core function they are doing reliably. They are well maintained. They're producing the component with great efficiency. There's no question there. But somehow there are proprietary controls in locking up the data. Right? Now, data like that, which is stuck up in islands, that's what we call as dark data. Now, if you put a pen drive to it and in batch process, you copy the data and move it to a system, it is not readable. It takes a lot of time to readable. A CMM report, every automotive company will have, or most automotive companies will have a CMM machine. It is not readable. When you make 300 measurements and you take out a CMM report, it takes a trained eye to do that. That means, we would call it dark data. But when we, permeate through all of this, the first mile, I think that's where, we need a lot of help, particularly with electronics players, people who can come up with modular first mile tech. I think that's very, very relevant for India. There are organically grown businesses. They didn't get a large order, 20-year contract upfront. They got one small order, so they conservatively invested. Those are strengths of Indian manufacturing. We don't have to feel ashamed of all of that. We are organically, a lot of SMEs are organically grown businesses. So we should come up with the first mile hardware and the communications. Even today, while we are on the verge of stepping into 5G, I have a lot of customers who don't have access to good bandwidth. That has happened in the cities, but you don't run a manufacturing factory inside the city. That happens, way outside Delhi and places like that. Connectivity is a big problem for these companies. I think where if how residences got connected, if our factories can get connected, one, and two, in terms of first mile hardware play, moving the data from the machines and transferring it to the cloud, I think there we need to put some solid funds. We are working with one or two partners. We have just started conversations with an industry veteran. He's been in electronic controls for 40 years. But we are just grappling with this challenge. We are not, it will take us some time to come out with a product saying, just connect a bunch of wires to your machines and data is there in the cloud. That's where we want to.
So when you talk about dark data, the other important thing is as you rightly said, it's the old technology and it's all stuck up in there in the islands. Uh,
Yes.
are you seeing any mindset change among the entrepreneurs or businesses who are willing to come forward and say, let's we would reach out to our the vendors that we've got these machines from, and we want to open up this.
Yes, absolutely. Entrepreneur mindset has changed a lot. Business owners want digital. They are enticed by, see, somewhere in their own little ways, they started receiving reports in SMS and WhatsApp. So they know the charm of doing that. Now they want more reliable dashboards instead of, getting a ping from a manager. They want more reliable information. So somewhere in their own ways, they have, gone digital. Not many people are receiving printed reports these days. But the conversation with vendors are not time bound. They might need additional cost. There isn't much in it for a machine supplier to come and say, "Oh, you bought a machine from me 15 years ago. Here I have a free update." That is not how that industry works. So they have challenges around that.
For a business like yours, what does it mean to be part of NASDAQ 2020?
No, it's an honor. It's a matter of pride that we have been selected for NASCOM, and it's one of the good things that's coming out of a very difficult year like 2020. So we are happy to come out of the lockdown with accelerated reach out, the opportunity to meet a lot of people, and we really have to thank NASCOM for bringing this together, and they have made it so affordable and so convenient. They've put the right ingredients in place for small startups like us. So that's great. It helps us a lot.
So, how big is the market size in the industry you're working? How many more startups can be accommodated into this?
I don't have a straight direct answer to it, but if you look at Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Maharashtra, and a little bit of Karnataka, there are more than 100,000 manufacturing companies out there. And each startup is focusing in a slightly different flavor of it. So there are those who focus entirely on machines. They look at condition monitoring, they look at the state of machines. Whereas we focus on the entire data set. That's where we differentiate. So we don't want our business users to make decisions with partial data. So we aggregate and harmonize all data sources. That is where we are different. But we do come across, each startup has a slightly different approach to it. And a lot of players are in the supply chain space. They are in the ERP space. But we call ourselves a shop floor company. So one of the first things I do with a new company is to go to the shop floor. So we like the dirty nature of data that's lying in the shop floor. That is where we have been trained. We have wrestled in that mud a lot. We have gotten dirty. So that's where our strength is. We are not hesitant to pick up that pieces of data. A lot of things happen there, and we have built controls there. But I don't know how much space is there. I know a lot of new companies are coming in. We do believe that we have a little bit of an advantage in the fact that so far we have visited more than 50 shop floors. And when I say visited, we at least built a blueprint, or a solution level for at least 50 factories, and we have learned from those. So we have our own advantages. Each company, I'm sure they venture into something like this. It is quite a challenging journey. I'm sure each entrepreneur is venturing with their own strengths. This is the strength that we have built.
Do you also collaborate or work with other startups who might be creating or developing solutions that are complementary to what you do?
Absolutely, we keep reaching out. So, for example, not necessarily startups. We are, we've been working with a measurement systems company out of Pune for a very long time. During the lockdown, we connected with a wearable technology company out of, I think they are out of Pune too, Pune and Gujarat. So, in terms of using smart glasses and those kind of add-ons to our platform, we are working in that space. We would definitely be interested in working with somebody in the IoT handler as a hardware. So we are trying to see if there is someone in that space, who can build the hardware and talk to a wide variety of machines on the edge, push the data to a local server or a cloud, something like that. If somebody is in that space, we will definitely be interested in talking to.
So coming finally to the final question, MyServe TV is a platform for startups and MSMEs, uh,
Yes.
showcasing businesses like yours. What's your first thoughts when you hear something like this?
It's very exciting. It's something which is focused on startups and small companies. A lot of us get so immersed in our day-to-day operations, we forget to do the important part of the story, which is to tell everybody about your success and your learnings. So I think you will help us with that. So I hope beyond NASCOM and NASTEC, we will connect with you. We have a lot of stories to tell, the problems that we have solved for our customers, and our customers can come on board and tell you what we have done for them. So we have the big battles that we have won. It's a great time for us to tell the world that this is how we have fought. These are our strategies. These are our winnings. And like I said, we forget to tell everybody about our successes. We just move on to the next project. The next delivery commitment is there. So I think that's a great initiative. We are looking forward to a relationship beyond NASDAQ with this platform.
Thank you, Mr. Venkat, and we hope and wish that the association of startups and MyServe TV and MSMEs continues, and we look forward to connecting with you again. Thank you.
Thank you so much.